Let's give a round of applause for Flavio Morales.
This is going to be fun. I'm so used to selling stuff, I never get to talk. This talk took me about 20 years to come up with this talk, and it's something that I've shared with many of you at many bars across this country. It's the fact that more voices are needed. Not that they don't exist, it's just that we need to get them amplified. We need bigger platforms. We need to reach out. Because we all grew up, if you grew up in this country, you saw the image of Latinos in television, and it wasn't in prime time. It was in the 11 o'clock news, and it looked a little something like this. I'm not joking. Think about it. When did you see us? You saw us in the news in handcuffs. That's what you grew up listening to. As a matter of fact, recently I went to go visit a police station with my son and a walkthrough. I was nervous. Where did that come from? What does media do? Media paints an image. And if you see it over and over again, it becomes true. And who holds the wand to media, right? Those that control media control the image, control the story. That defines us. It tells us who we are, who we want to be, or who we can't be. Those are real limitations, real obstacles that we challenge day in and day out. And a lot of times the people that control it don't look like us or haven't looked like us. But the time of sitting and complaining is over, right? Because the census in 1980 and 1990 and 2000 said, sleeping giant, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming. Something else changed. The numbers grew, but technology came to be a player, right? Technology is now making it equal. There are now new platforms, right? So I can't be on a network TV show, but I can be on YouTube. I can't write for that sitcom, I'll blog about it. The opportunities are there. We're creating our own opportunities. Thank God for technology. We're evening the playing field. Now, when you think about it, on the 11 o'clock news, you don't see us like this. You see us as the anchor, the weather, and sports. Things are changing. We are making a change. Think about this, and this is the few numbers that I will spew out, because I'm terrible at graphics and numbers. I'm really good at selling shows, though. Over 90% of Latinos have internet access at home. Over 85% own a mobile phone, and a mobile phone is now a computer, right? So it is really an opportunity for us to create new vehicles of information. And we're also younger. We're average about 27 years old, where the general population is about 37. We have kids younger. We're creating families at a younger rate. There's a lot of opportunity, good and bad, right? Because 50% of us don't graduate high school. So there's a lot of challenges, but a lot of opportunities. But it's about connecting and bringing more audiences, more voices to create it. One of the other things, too, that's important, it's about the scale. What's interesting about all of these changes is that the platforms are different and the languages are as well. In New York, Miami, or LA, in primetime, it is not surprising to see a Spanish language network be the #1 network in primetime. That's new too. New opportunities. Are we taking advantage of it? Everybody, let's bring out the Spanish English dictionary, because we're going to need them. So this isn't a job for a nonprofit organization or our HR department. There is a real industry. And it is our responsibility to figure out a way or ways of getting those voices out there. And to share stories like this one.
Well, my name is Juan Martinez, but I like to go by Xavier. The music of now that people are dancing is it's kind of like techno, but it's not, but it's like Hispanic techno in a way. I got the idea to put lights on my boots. I was gonna put them like in a belt, but I was like, what happened if I put them like in my shoes? What would people say? People will just look at me because they're like so long, they're not used to it. But if you go like to a Mexican club, they already seen them before. But it takes me like maybe like around an hour or an hour and a half to get ready. Yeah, so and then I'm ready.
That's the new America. That's a valid story. That could be an ad campaign. That could be the inspiration for a cartoon. That could be a great sitcom. It's American. That's what America looks like now. What are we going to do? How do we do it? How do we connect the dots? How do we convince the ad agency to come and buy something creative and figure out the proper home and venue? Or just put it up for free? I don't know. That's what the ideas are here for. So as part of this discussion is about the Latino voices needed and how do you get them out there. And I figured I wanted to share my story. Because my story is unique, but at the same time probably as universal as anybody else's. I was 17 years old. I'm from East LA. And my parents splurged. This was my senior year in high school, and they splurged and they got us cable. And I discovered, bro, I'm from East LA. Cable's a big deal. And it wasn't pirated either, I was very proud to say. And I discovered public access. And does everybody here know what public access is? Doesn't remember? Thank you. Public access community television, right? They gave everybody a chance. You can go and apply and get a television show. I went and I interned, picked up cables, did the cold coffee thing, did that for a couple months. Spring break of 1990, the head of the public access studio, Arturo Esparza from UC Santa Cruz, says to me, "You want a show?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "All right, team up with that guy." That guy's name was Richard Estrada. He became my best friend for life. They said, "Okay, you have a show. You're going to do it spring break, 1 hour every morning. Go." What do you put on a television show about us? I mean, about 17-year-olds in East LA. So we picked up our consumer VHS video cameras and went and shot around East LA. Shot our neighborhood, shot our friends, punk bands, and then we would add music to it. Big Latino acts like Depeche Mode, Oingo Boingo, The Smiths. Latino artists that really, really spoke to us. Because that's what 17-year-olds listen to in East LA. And I hear that they listen to it in New York too, in Texas. But that's what we did. And we did it because we could, and because we were given access. And we also came up with a funny name for the show. Immigrant bashing does suck. It was illegal interns, and it wasn't a political statement. We just thought it was a funny name. We did this show in East LA, and the reaction was immediate. What we were able to do with no money, actually our financier was my mom, was amazing. And during this time, we started to show more voices, and we started doing local shows. And I wound up meeting a gentleman by the name of Sean Carrillo. He owned a cafe in downtown called Troy Cafe. He actually was part of the avant-garde group Asco. And he saw something in us, and he said, you should do a show here at my shop and write a press release. I'm like, write a press release? Why? It's not fancy. He said, Flavio, if it's not covered by the media, it doesn't exist. I was like, oh, wow, that's true. So we put these shows together, and we let more musicians in, and we let artists in. And I brought this other clip. This is 1993. This is a Chicana writer writing about something she saw on television. She had just watched, this is 93, a big, giant Levi's campaign about multiculturalism. And she had a point of view about that campaign.
This is called Where Am I in Those Cool Levi Commercials? Sitting at home watching my dictator tell me how I should look or not look this week, how my skin is not quite that white and quite not that brown. They got me watching an Asian guy in a Levi commercial, which makes me not quite that yellow. So where does that leave me? Where am I in those cool Levi commercials? What, don't I wear Levi's? Don't the ones who fall in between count? Have they not been to the Montebello Town Center, the Levi Gap t-shirt capital of Madison Avenue? Or don't they know that we're beautiful?
She says, don't you know that we're beautiful too? Her name was Laura Mercado. She now goes by Laura Morales Mercado. And besides being an amazing writer, she's a fantastic mother to our 2 children, Elias and Alexa. I'm her roadie. When she does the poetry, I carry the poems around. Really cool. But it was this community of people that wanted their voices heard. And during that time, we started connecting with other people in other cities. There was a group of guys in New York called Urban Latino. There's another guy in Miami, Boom Magazine. Another guy in Northern California creating Frontera Magazine. Things were happening. Things were happening too slowly. We all wish we had YouTube back then, right? Or an app. And so there was a need and an appetite for this. I now started hooking up with other people. I remember this guy, his name was Lafitte Benitez, comes up to me and says, hey, you want a real paying job? And I'm just like, yeah, that'd be great. There's a freelance marketing position opening at Epitaph Records. I only knew 1 out of those 3 words. I didn't really understand what freelance was, didn't know what marketing was, but I didn't know what Epitaph was. I get the job, I freelance, I consult, I'm understanding the industry. Mind you, this has nothing to do with television, but it's a great job. From that point, I meet another person. Her name is Yvonne Gomez. Yvonne Gomez was a rock en español promoter in LA and also a publicist. She said, would you like the opportunity to be a junior publicist? Wow, I don't know what that means, but sounds amazing. Oh my God, yes. I become a publicist. I am literally the guy behind Chick Corea on the red carpet of the Grammys. It was really cool. I mean, these opportunities don't come. There is no A to B in this industry, right? You go where the opportunity lends itself and you do the best that you can. But someone reached back and said, here, try this. Mind you, I made these people look good because I busted my ass doing whatever I could to learn it, but we're all helping each other out. Are we doing that enough these days? Are we really pushing to do that? I gave you 3 names. There's countless of names that we can all go back to and say, I remember so-and-so. Are we that person so-and-so? Can we become that person so-and-so? Let me fast forward a little bit more. This is late 90s now. And I meet a guy by the name of Manny Gonzalez. He was working for La Opinión in Los Angeles. And he had coffee or lunch or dinner with some ad agency people that were looking for someone that understood Latino LA. And he said, you guys should go meet Flavio. 2 years later, I am living in Portland, Oregon, working for Wieden & Kennedy. I had no idea what advertising was. I just went because there was an opportunity there, and someone connected. Someone reached back and said, here, try this guy on for size. Are we doing that? Is there a way? Is there a system? Because we can't depend, like I said earlier, on the nonprofits or the HRs. We have to do it for ourselves. It happens on the general market, right? We hear about it all the time. We hear the stories. It's the inner circle that we create. And there is a need. There is a need on a national level. People want to know who we are. In an international level, people want to understand our culture. Do you know how big Latino culture is in Japan right now? I had no idea. They love lowriders. They love tattoos too. Are we looking out for one another? One of the earliest things that I ever heard at an industry panel was about the crabs in the bucket. Have you guys all heard about the crabs in the bucket? Us Latinos, we're like crabs in a bucket. The moment one is trying to get out, the other one pulls it back in. I want to say that that is changing, that there is a new generation of us because there's so many platforms. There's so many opportunities that we're not doing, that the time is now to do it. The time is available. We have to do it for so many reasons, right? Political reasons, financial reasons. We're raising, many of us now have kids that we tell them, yes, you are Latino. Or you can go ahead and say you're Chicano. That, my kids, I blow their mind when I ask them to do that one. But there is that need. We have to do it. If not us, who? So my big thing is just the idea that I want to share is that on a national level, we're all growing up in this game. We used to go from being the manager to being the VP, the EP, and the CEO. We now have to go back and move some along. We have to be like Latino media coyotes and like get people in and figure out ways, because if it ain't happening, I don't know what's gonna happen to us. It is now a mandate. The big media conglomerates are saying, we have to have a Hispanic initiative. There has to be Hispanic writing programs, marketing programs, programs for programs, and more programs. But you know what? The general market doesn't do the programs. They lift up the phone and they say, hey, you gonna hook up so-and-so? Yeah, they need a gig. There's a lot of people that need gigs. A lot of people that don't come from the status quo, right? So if you have someone in marketing that's brilliant and you feel like maybe they need a chance to be over here, do it here. We need more designers, right? There's needs in the digital world. I just heard CMO at Facebook say, if there was one thing you could do, what could you do? He goes, I put women and minorities as engineers in engineering programs. It's a mandate. It's opportunities. And we have to do it. We have to raise our voices, because there is nothing more important than validation through media. For as much as we can fight it and say, no, 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 yes, if it's on the image on the screen, it becomes real. And we have control over that. We have the ability to change this. And we have to do it for one another. Because if not, we're not going to be able to share stories like the one that I'm going to close with. And with that, I want to thank you for allowing me to share my idea. Thank you.
Dicen que por las noches nomás se eleva en puro llorar. Dicen que no dormían, nomás se eleva en puro tomar. Juran que el mismo cielo se estremecía al oír su llanto. Cómo sufrió por ella, que hasta en su muerte la fue llamando. Cucurrucucú, cucurrucucú.